Yes, it's beautiful. Southeast Asia is home to some of the rarest and most exquisite species on the planet, attracting conservationists, nature lovers, and visitors from around the globe. Sadly, not everyone's content to simply see the sights. Some want to poach, steal, or slaughter them. Southeast Asia is now a global hotspot for the illegal wildlife trade, worth billions of US dollars every year. If the illegal trade in rare and endangered species continues at the current rate, experts warn that at least 40% of Southeast Asia's animal and plant species could be wiped out this century.
What's more, we are increasingly seeing wildlife trafficking has serious implications for the security and prosperity of people around the world. Local populations that depend on wildlife, either for tourism or sustenance, are finding it harder and harder to maintain their livelihoods. Diseases are spreading to new corners of the globe through wildlife that is not properly inspected at border crossings. Park rangers are being killed. And we have good reason to believe that rebel militias are players in a worldwide ivory market worth millions and millions of dollars a year.
To combat the illegal wildlife trade, the ASEAN Wildlife Enforcement Network was launched in 2005. Asean Wen is part of the Regional Action Plan on Trade in CITES, Wild Fauna and Flora, devised by all 10 ASEAN countries. It's now the largest intergovernmental wildlife enforcement network in the world. The network faces a daunting task, but cross-border cooperation between customs, police and enforcement agencies of the 10 ASEAN member states has brought results. In the past 4 years, Asean Wen has rescued more than 150,000 live animals. These tiny cubs are just a handful of wildlife trade victims freed by vigilant customs officers at Bangkok airport a year ago. And this massive haul of ivory tusks, amounting to 120 dead elephants, was intercepted on a flight from East Africa to Laos in a consignment marked as telecommunications equipment. The tusks are just a tiny fragment of the massive 40 metric tons of ivory seized by enforcement officials in ASEAN since 2009. And their achievements haven't gone unnoticed.
Some of the most successful initiatives we've seen so far are the regional wildlife enforcement networks. These networks are critical to strengthening protection efforts and enhancing cooperation among key countries.
Despite the success stories, for every consignment intercepted, it's generally accepted that hundreds more illicit cargoes slip across ASEAN borders every day. Strong, effective cooperation, resources, and commitment by governments and their staff are needed if Asean Wen is to win the war against ruthless and well-organized wildlife traffickers. Asean Wen is supported by the United States Agency for International Development's ARREST program, implemented by Freeland Foundation. Other partner organizations include the CITES Secretariat, Interpol, the World Customs Organization, Traffic Southeast Asia, and TRACE. Asean Wen is the commitment of the 10 ASEAN member states to develop a strong network of task forces and interagency cooperation among law enforcement agencies across the region. Training, raising awareness, collaborating on investigations, and sharing information about wildlife crime. Enforcement agencies in Southeast Asia and around the world are now working together to fight illegal wildlife trafficking and protect the region's biodiversity. Working with CITES, so a century from now, our great-grandchildren can witness the wonders of our wildlife and still say, Yes, it's beautiful.
ASEAN is committed to realizing the ASEAN community by 2015. Issues confronting the conservation and sustainable management of wildlife resources under CITES carry strong negative implications to the three pillars of the ASEAN community. Successful cooperation on CITES issues under ASEAN will not only promote generally the sustainable management and protection of the rich biodiversity that the ASEAN region has, but specifically it will effectively provide ASEAN countries effective mechanisms and safeguards in ensuring that the three pillars of the ASEAN community are promoted.